All right, so for domain and range, we want to list all of our domain values and all of our range values. So when we're talking about domain, we are talking about all of our X values. And so whenever we are given a mapping, which is what this is, or a table or a list of points, we want to list out all of those numbers. And so we're going to do that here. So our domain is the X values, and these are labeled, and they're the inputs. So this right here, all the numbers in that bubble are part of our domain. So we want to list them in numerical order from smallest to largest. So we're going to start with 4. And then I'm going to cross it out so I don't list it again. Then I have 5. I'm going to cross that out. And then I have 8. I can cross that out. And that's it. So my domain is 4, 5, and 8. For my range, because the domain is all of the X values, the range is all of the Y values. So in our mapping here, we have all of our Y's in this bubble. So we want to list these in numerical order in these fancy brackets again. So we're going to start with 2. And then we have 5. And we have 7. And we have 9. And that is all of our range. The other question that can be asked is to determine if this is a function or not. A function is where every input has exactly one output. So every X has only one Y. So we do not want one X value to have 2 different Y values. That would be like someone having 2 different birthdays. That can't happen. It's weird. It is okay for 2 different X values to have the same Y value, same way as it's okay for 2 different people to have the same birthday. So when we look here, one of the things that we need to notice is right here, this 5 goes to 2 and it goes to 9. So that's like one person having a birthday on the 2nd and a birthday on the 9th. We cannot have this, so this is not a function. And then we're done. If we're asked to explain why, we would just say that the X value 5 has 2 different Y values, so it's not a function. All right, so we're going to do another example here. This is a table. So we're going to do this. We're going to find our domain and range again. So for our domain, I'm just going to use D for that. We have our fancy brackets. Our domain is all of our X values, and all of our X values are actually already on one side of the table. So we have 5, 5, 6, 7, 8. One thing about domain is we do not want to list a number twice. So when we list 5, we can cross both of them out. Even though there's 2 of them in the table, we only list it once in our domain. Then we have 6, 7, and 8. So that is our domain. And then for our range, we're going to list all of our Y values. Again, it has to be from smallest to largest. So these are not in order. So we're going to start with 1, because that's the smallest number. And then we have 2, then 4, 7, and 9. Okay, so smallest to largest, we don't list any duplicates. And then if we're asked to figure out if it's a function or not, for this, we're going to look at our X values. So if we have one X value that has 2 different Y values, it's not a function. And if we look right here, our X value of 5 has a Y value of 4 and a Y value of 1. So this one is not a function either. And that's it. So we found our domain and range, and we determined if it was a function or not. We're going to do one last one. So we could have a graph that looks like this, which is a set of different points. And there's 2 ways that we could do this. One way is to kind of go through and list all the X values first and all the Y values. Another way is to actually write in each point, which is what I'm going to do. Oops. So this point right here, we want to label the X and the Y values. So the X value is -6 and the Y value is -4. Then we're going to go up here. This one is -2, 3. This one is 0, 0. This one is 3 comma 3 and 3 comma -2. So we're going to go ahead and start with our domain. So domain is all of our x's, and I'm going to work left to right, so it's automatically smallest to largest. So I'm going to start with -6, because that's an x value. Then I have -2. Then I have 0. Then I have 3, which is this one and this one. So I cross both of them out, and then I'm done because I got all of my x values. For my range, I'm going to work from bottom to top. So the bottom would be -4, -2. Let's make sure those are negatives. 0, 3, which takes care of both of these. So there's actually two ways we can determine if this is a function or not. We can look at our points and see if there's one xi that has two different y values, or we can actually do the vertical line test because we are given a graph. So for this, either way, we should get the same answer. So this one is not a function because if I did my vertical line test, this vertical line right here passes through 2 points, so it fails the vertical line test. So this is not a function. I could also say that my x value of 3 has two different y values as an explanation as well. And so that is domain and range.